إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وخليله وصفيه وأمينه على وحيه ومصطفاه من خلقه، صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد. Fear Allah, O Muslims. Be mindful and be watchful of your Lord. Be cautious, be careful, and be wary of your Maker. As Allah the Mighty and the Most High tells us in His glorious book, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي إِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ. And fear Allah, the one to whom each and every one of you shall return. Something that we know, something that is naturally instilled in us, but how often do we say it? Do we actually really believe in it? And most importantly, how much does this have an influence and an impact on our actions? And in most cases, we don't realize that we belong to Allah. We shall return to Him, in most cases until it's too late. And when death comes, and the tragedy of loss of life of a loved one, your father, your mother, your son, in a car accident, or cancer, or diabetes, or heart attack, then we realize, then we say, then we proclaim, and then we acknowledge, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Then we say it verbally. And then it's manifested upon our emotions and our minds. We cry, we're sad. And temporarily we think about death. Temporarily. When we're not drinking at the funeral, or eating, or laughing, or joking, or gossiping, or flirting, or socializing, or scheming and plotting, and fighting and arguing over a house, or a car, or a boat, or an estate. But for a short period of time, death comes to our minds. And we really think about it, that we do belong to Allah, and to Him, everything in the heavens and the earth is His. Everything. He gives and He takes. And there's no doubt, no matter how rich, no matter how fair your skin is, or how dark it is, no matter how strong and muscular you are, or how thin and how frail you are, no matter who your father is, your tribe, your clan, your lineage, وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ, we shall return unto Him. And death discriminates nothing or no one. There is no white and black and yellow and red. Death comes to everyone. There is no age. He was too young to die. Why do the good ones always have to die? Death doesn't know these things. So it's unfortunate that we as Muslims, we believe this, but we only manifest it, and we only act upon it at the time of death. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the bad thing about it is only acknowledging it at the time of death, and only thinking about the reality that we shall return to Allah, and in most cases when it's too late. How can this not be the case? And Allah the Mighty and the Most High, He tells us, وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Give glad tidings to the patient. وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Those who are patient and perseverant, congratulations to them. Give them a bushra. مَنْهُمَ الصَّابِرُونَ. Who are they? Who are the people who are patient? Those who don't get mad when they're stuck in a traffic jam? Those who wait on their check and money, waiting on a baby? Is that patience? Allah says, الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. The patient ones, the sabirun, those whom Allah loves, those whom Allah is with, those whom Allah has promised, those whom Allah gives glad tidings to. إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. It's only the patient who shall receive their reward in full, and they won't have any reckoning. Who are these sabirun? Who are these patient people? Allah says those, when they are afflicted, when a tragedy befalls them, they say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We belong to Allah, and we shall return to Allah. So in actuality, and in reality, death is no shock or no surprise. In actuality, it's not so much of a blow. And that's because we knew in the beginning, and we knew in the first place that we were property of Allah. And we knew in the beginning, and we knew in the first place that there's going to come a time and a day in which the owner of this property is going to take his property back. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. What is their reward? What is the recompense for these people whom Allah Azza wa Jalla has given the glad tidings? Allah Azza wa Jalla, He says, Ulaika, these people here, these individuals, they will have the following things from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alayhim salawatu min rabbihim wa rahmah wa ulaika hum muhtadun. Allah says they will have prayers from their Lord, mercy from their Lord, and they will be guided. So you get prayer from Allah, mercy from Allah, and guidance from Allah just by being patient. But these individuals here, they don't say inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un only at the time of death. Rather, they knew it before and they said it before. And instead of cursing or becoming angry or mad or upset or impulsive or swearing or scratching or pulling or tearing or drinking and killing and fornicating, the things that people do when tragedy befalls them, goes back into a drinking addiction. He was clean for 30 years, 20 years. I was sober. And then when my daughter died, my young, small, innocent daughter that never harmed anyone, I went back to the bottle. They don't do this. Allah says, قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. They belong to Allah. We belong to Allah. We're property. We're slaves. We're servants. And unto Allah is the final return. To Allah is the final return. So these people, they say that now, but not like those who only say it at that time. And in most cases, those who say to Allah we belong and to Allah we return, they only say it at the time of a funeral. And if they do say it more than that, they don't behave accordingly. They don't behave accordingly. As Allah says, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي إِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ. Fear Allah, the one to whom you shall be gathered and resurrected. I.e., Allah is telling us, and Allah wants from us, is for us to be spiritually conscious and to be mindful that the return is to Allah. With my tongue, my money, my eyes, my ears, my heart, my body, I have to be conscious, I have to be mindful. I have to be thinking, and I have to constantly be in that mind state, is that I will return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So am I pleased with being in front of Allah by performing this act, by making this statement, by eating this wealth, by hitting this person, striking this person? Is that pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And if it isn't pleasing, then stop. And this is what Allah Azza wa Jal means. Fear Allah, the one to whom you shall return. And do not be like those who only declare their return to Allah at the time of death. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Don't be like those individuals who only practice patience when they have to. As people have said, that your death is a reflection of your life. Your death is a reflection of your life. How you die is a mirror of how you lived. You die honorably because you lived honorably. You die dishonorably because you lived dishonorably. It's nothing more than a mirror and a reflection. Who are the people coming to your janazah? People who are drunk, women that are uncovered, people are cursing and swearing, jackals, vultures, and wolves with their fangs out, fighting for your money and for your wealth. He owes me this, he owes me that. I don't have the house, he promised me the car, he promised me this. These are the people coming to your funeral? Or righteous people, Muslims, who are crying not because they lost something, but they're crying because you're going into your true life right now. This fake world is over. Yes, I'm hurt that my husband is gone, my wife is gone, but I'm really feeling sorrow for them in the grave. And that's because the fake stuff is now done. The pleasantries, the hypocrisies, you can get a pass because of what you look like. You can get a pass because where you come from. You get a pass because you're young or because you're old. Let them go. Give them a shot. There's none of that in the hereafter. Munkar and Nakir, they don't get passes. They don't get breaks. They don't look at appearances. They only look at your deeds. They only look at how you answer those three critical questions. So to prepare for this and to get ready for this, we have to be spiritually conscious. And that is by being mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Having taqwa of Allah, the one to whom we shall all return. Each and every one of us. Without any distinction, without any discrimination. All of us are going to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we'll be held accountable for our deeds. Not what we look like, what we talk like, where we come from, what we dress like, but nothing more than what we performed. So you have an opportunity now. If you did bad deeds, stop doing those bad deeds and start doing good deeds. If you're doing good deeds, ask Allah to accept them from you. And ask Allah to keep you persevering and consistent upon those good deeds and do more of those good deeds and never become complacent, never become relaxed. Never think or feel that you're doing Allah a favor by making salah, by being here today. You're helping out Allah. I did my good deed for the day, as we say. I gave my charity. I gave my sadaqah. I gave $5. Give another 5, and another 10, and another 20, and another 100. How many sins do you make in 30 minutes? An hour, a day? How many times do your eyes slip? Does your tongue slip? So you need to counter that was given an abundance of good deeds, an abundance of sadaqah, because you never know when death will come to you. And death is nothing more than a reflection of life. Death is nothing more than a reflection of how you lived. As the Messenger of Allah ﷺ has informed us about dreams, and the importance of dreams, and the power of dreams, and how those who see true dreams and real dreams is a reflection of when they're awake. Those who are truthful, honest, they keep it real, and they try to be pure, that is a reflection of what they see at nighttime. Nightmares, false dreams, fake dreams, dreams that have no clarity, is because you're not living properly when you're awake. So sleep, which is a type of death, which is mentioned in the Quran, it's a type of death. Sleep is a type of death. It's a reflection of when you're awake. And the ultimate death, the actual death, the real death, is a reflection of how you live. And that's manifested in what you look like. And this is one of the reasons why the scholars of Islam say that people are not allowed to see the face of the deceased Muslim. They should not see it. And only those who are washing the body should see the face. And it's an amana on what that person's face looks like. And that's because a person can have a contorted face. A person can have a very stressed face. It can have a very gruesome, unsightly appearance. And people may think and feel that he died in a bad way. He died in a horrible way. Versus someone who had a good death, an easy death. They said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, their last words. And their faces are calm and peaceful. It's an amana what the dead person looks like. And not everyone is supposed to see it and talk about how the body looks in the time and in the state of death. And that's because death is a reflection of life. And the scholars of Islam, they say that whenever there is a Muslim who is a Muslim his entire life, and he dies in a bad way, he can't make the kalima, he can't make the shahada, he's crying and moaning, a very horrible type of death, they say it's because of an evil secret that he had. Sarira to su, an evil secret, something that the people didn't see, but Allah knew about. And from that, the scholars mention is akul riba. It's eating from usury and from interest. Riba is that most people who eat from riba, they do not die well. They don't have husnul khatima. They don't die honorably. So death is a reflection of your life. What type of reflection do you want to have? What type of funeral do you want to have? Who's going to come to your funeral if you die right now? Who's going to come? People wailing? People being impatient? Or the righteous going to come? Who's going to feel the sorrow when you go? Or will the people have a break from you? How many houses have we been to in which we visited the family, and the wife wasn't crying, the children were laughing and joking, and we're sitting around on the sofa and we're saying, is it me? Or they look like they're happy that he died. Is it me? Or we're sadder for the brother than his own family, his own wife and children. And Allah knows that we aren't making this up. It's a real life story. We walked into the house and they're sitting, eating, drinking, playing cards like it's nothing wrong, like nothing happened. And we're distraught and saddened that brother Fulan died. Perhaps, and Allah knows best, waliyadu billah, it is included in the Prophet ﷺ's statement, mustarihun aw mustarahun minhu, is that when people die, there'll be one of two. Those who rest, those who get a break, or those from whom the people rest and the people get a break. I'm glad that he died. He was a tyrant. He was a bully. He was a baller. He was evil. He was mean. He beat me up my whole life. He oppressed me my whole life. He wronged me my whole life. He never gave me no love and no attention my whole life. I'm happy that he died. And I'm happy that we're taking his wealth. And we're taking his possessions. And we're free from him now. We can do what we want to do. Waliyadu billah. Or worse than that, you may have people that are happy that you passed because you were religious and pious. And then they can sin. And they can disobey Allah. And they can do whatever they want to do. And obviously that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But there's still something that's subtly wrong. And that is, how did you teach and train your family? What did you tell them about death? How did you raise your sons? Were you there for them when they were younger? Or were you weren't there? And the scholars of Islam, they say, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, إِنَّ الْمَيِّتَ لَيُعَذَّبُ بِبُكَاءِ أَهْلِهِ عَلَيْهِ, that the dead Muslim or dead person will be punished because of his family members crying. His family members crying. How does hadith make sense? How can you, who is in the grave, be punished for something that the people are doing above the grave, on ground? You're under the dirt. You're with the dirt and the worms. 6 feet beneath, 6 feet below. How are you being punished for something that they do? And Allah Azza wa Jalla tells us, وَلَا تَزِرُ وَزِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. No soul is going to bear the sin or the problem or the faults of another soul. وَلَا تَزِرُ وَزِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى. There's no one who takes your sins, who takes your problems. So how is this hadith consistent with the Quran? The scholars of Islam, they say from the meanings of this hadith is that when a Muslim dies and his family members wail and they shriek and they scratch and they rip and they tear and they do all types of innovations and haram things because he never taught them the proper way and he never trained them for his death. A man who does not prepare his son for when he leaves has not fulfilled his job as a father. It's not just about teaching your son when he's alive. It's not about showing him what to do, how to dress, how to wash up, how to have hygiene, how to make money. It's not about that. Son, is going to come a day in which I will not be here. Know that for sure. I won't be here for you. I'm going to die. You're going to be the imam of the household. You're going to be the leader of the family. You have to listen to your mother. You have to treat your mother correctly. You have to guide your sisters. You have to do the right thing because there's no promise that I'm going to be here your entire life. And there is no doubt when your father tells you those words, you're saddened as a little boy or a young man, but the message is clear. And when your father goes and he passes, it's not as bad because you were prepared, you were trained. And he clearly tells his sons and his daughters and his wife, when you come to my janazah, do not shriek and do not wail. Any type of innovation is unwelcome at my wedding. Any type of jahili practice is not welcome at my wedding. If you want to come acting like a fool, don't come to my wedding. And you make that clear to your family members, and you teach them, and you instruct them the proper etiquette of the funeral. When this takes place, and the people do well, and they do shriek, the person will not be punished. But if that does take place, they do well, and they do shriek, and you didn't teach them, then perhaps that's what that hadith means. Ala ilallahi tasirul umur. الحمد لله وكفى وصلاة الله وسلامه على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد. The topic of today's khutbah, what I want to speak about, what I want to remind myself regarding, and you as well, my beautiful brothers and sisters in Islam, and all of those who are watching and listening worldwide, is one of the most common things in our world today. Something that we all love, we all enjoy, something that all of us, or if not most of us, some people don't necessarily enjoy it, but the vast majority of the people in the world, they enjoy a thing on one level or another, one phase or one level or another. And that thing is nothing more than the concept of fruit. We all love fruits. We all eat fruits, except for a few people who have fruit allergies. But the average person, if most of you in this masjid today, if I ask you, all of you, who doesn't eat fruit? Maybe one or two brothers will raise their hands. One or two, maybe three, at most. But most of us, we like fruits. I'm allergic to this fruit, but I eat those fruits. The young people, the teenagers, the kids that don't like fruits and don't like vegetables, they eat candy. They drink juices. And they have all types of things that are based off of and products and come from fruits. When you work hard, your back is aching, 30 years, 40 years. You built a home, you built several homes, you raised your strong sons, your strong daughters. You say, this is the fruit of my labor. The fruits of my labor. And you don't say, these are the vegetables of my labor. You don't say that. You don't say it's the protein of my labor, the starch of my labor. You say fruits. And it's the reason why we say that in English. The fruits of my labor. They say patience is bitter, but it bears sweet fruits. Why is this? Because the human being by nature loves fruits. The smell of the fruit, the color of the fruit, and of course the taste of the fruit. And the greatest thing about the fruit is the sweetness of the fruit, the tanginess of the fruit. And there are many fruits that people enjoy around the world. The most common fruits in the world are five. Five fruits, the most common. Number one, tomatoes. Afterwards, bananas, watermelons, apples, and grapefruit. Those are the most common fruits that are eaten worldwide. Of course, we have the orange, and we have pineapples, we have exotic fruits, papayas, guavas, mangoes, tamarinds, all types of delicious fruits. How many people came from a country or an island, and the first thing that you complained about in the United States was the poor quality of the fruit? It doesn't taste the same. It's not the same as it was back home. Back home, I'll go to my yard, I'll pick up the machete, chop it down, cut it open, eat it and drink it. Here I have to go to the supermarket. It's been in a bus, been in a train, been on a plane. It's being cold. It's not real fruit. The pineapple that you take to your home, you sit it on your kitchen table, what happens to that pineapple? Do flies swarm around it? Gnats swarm around it? Does the whole entire kitchen smell the aroma of pineapple? Or does it sit there for a week and you don't even smell anything? You miss the fruits of your home country. What do you eat for breakfast? You go on a diet, you have a healthy regimen. The doctor tells you need to eat more fruits. What type of candy do you get? Mike and Ike's, Now and Laters, Laffy Taffies, Sour Patch Kids, they're all based off of what? Fruits. Artificially flavored. Juices that you drink is based off of what? Fruits. Sodas are based off of fruits. And the list goes on and on and on and on about the impact of fruits upon our lives and the nutrients that they provide, the nutrition that it gives us, the delight and the pleasure that we get from eating fruits in the morning or for dessert or in the afternoon. Some people put salt on their fruits, hot sauce on their fruits, peppers on their fruits, and then the list goes on of the different types and styles of fruits. So with this being said, and if it's a worldwide phenomenon and a craze that humans love fruits, it only makes sense that Allah Azza wa Jalla will give us a fruit in paradise, or fruits in paradise equal but better and greater than the fruits that we enjoy in this world. And that's because human beings love it, just like human beings love wine. And that's why Allah has promised the believers wine in paradise. But not a wine that intoxicates, not a wine that causes people to make ta'theen, sinful speech, a level, evil speech, idle speech, but a wine that is pure and pristine and causes no headaches. Allah the Mighty and the Most High, He tells us, وَبَشِّرِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Allah says, and give glad tidings to the believers and the hard workers. The believers and the hard workers. Those who believe with their hearts and they work hard with their bodies. Allah says that they will have أَنَّ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ. They will have paradise, gardens, under which rivers flow, from beneath which rivers flow, rivers of milk, rivers of wine, rivers of honey, and rivers of water that is ready acid, the purest, most pristine water that you can think of. Allah the Mighty and Most High, He tells us, كُلَّمَا رُزِقُوا مِنْهَا. Allah says, whenever they're given a thamara, rizqan, they're given a thamara, they say, هَذَا الَّذِي رُزِقْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِ وَأُتُوا بِهِ مُتَشَابِهًا. The people of paradise will say, these are the fruits that we just had. These are the fruits that we've just been given. وَأُتُوا بِهِ مُتَشَابِهًا. And Allah says, and they will be given things in likeness and similarity. They will be given things that are equal and similar. What does this mean? Why would the people of Jannah say this? Wouldn't it be horrible and wouldn't it be boring if you got the same thing over and over again? The same fruit every day. Wouldn't you get tired of it? Wouldn't you want to switch it up? Even if you have a favorite fruit, but you have orange juice, orange slices, you have this, you have that, you have different types and different ways and different kinds of oranges. But if you had the same orange each and every single day, you would get tired, right? The same bowl of fruit, the same plate of fruit, you would get tired in most cases. And of course, there are things that we enjoy that never ever get old. Things that we have the same amount of excitement each and every time, but there is diversity in that. So what does this mean when Allah says that the people of paradise will say, this is what we have been given before? What's meant by that? وَأُتُوا بِهِ مُتَشَابِهًا. And the fruits that they're given are mutashabih. They're similar, they're equal, they're like. What's meant by this? Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, he has given us a golden principle about the pleasures of paradise. He has given us a golden principle about the pleasures of paradise. He says, لَا يُشْبِهُ شيء مما في الجنة إلا الأسماء أو كما قال رضي الله عنه. He says the names and the titles, the things that are spoken about and mentioned in the Quran about paradise, and have equals in this worldly life, it's nothing more than a name and a title. It's nothing more than a name and a title. So we have fruit, and then we have fruit. Fruit and fruit. The name is the same, F-R-U-I-T, but the size, the color, the smell, the taste, the feel is like night and day. And there's no comparison or similarity between this fruit on this earth and the fruit that it is in paradise and awaits the muttaqeen. Allah the Mighty and the Most High, He tells us in many ayats, وَفَاكِهَةٍ. Allah says, and fruits, مِمَّا يَتَخَيَّرُونَ, that they will select and they will pick. وَفَاكِهَةٍ كَثِيرًا, abundant fruit. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He tells us, He says that the fruit will be brought close to them, and it will be made tadleed, and it will be brought easy to them. So many of the companions, they said what's meant by this ayah is that it looks the same, but it tastes different. And some of them, they say it was the fruit that they had in the dunya, but in paradise it's something different. And some of them, they said it's that which we had yesterday, but it's a different fruit. It looks the same, يختلف الطعم, but the taste is totally different. So let me ask you a question right now. Is there a thing in which you have two fruits that are exactly the same, that look exactly the same, and taste differently? They're different species, different types, different variations, but it's the exact same color, size, and smell, but the taste is totally different. And how many fruits are seasonal? You can't get it in the wintertime. You can't get it in the summertime. You can't get it in the fall. Apples only grow in this season, in this region. But in paradise, that's not the case. Those people, they will have constant fruits all the time. And it'll be close by, it'll be nearby, and there won't be any thorns. There's no such thing as a thorny branch. There's no climbing and ascending and chopping and cutting and snapping open the coconut. It doesn't exist. And that's because the fruit will be brought close to them. And whenever they give it one fruit, behold, another fruit comes. And they'll be given over and over and over and over again. Constant bliss. And they'll never become bloated. They'll never have indigestion. They'll never use the restroom. They'll never use the bathroom. They'll never be allergic or sick or ill to these fruits that they eat. And this is from the rewards of their righteous deeds in this life. The fruits of your labor. The fruits of your labor. So the next time you go to pick up that banana for your cereal, or the strawberry for your ice cream, the next time you take the blueberry, put it on your oatmeal, the next time you go and you slice up a mango, think about this verse. And think about those other ayats in the Quran, in which Allah Azza wa Jalla promises His believing slaves many things. And from the things that He promises His believing slaves is the sweet, delicious fruits of paradise that neither rot nor become stale. They're neither too big, too small. They're just perfectly right. They're close by, they're sweet, they're delicious, and they have no comparison to this worldly life. Fruit that you have to pay for, or oftentimes fruit that was stolen. There's no fair trade with this company. They usurped the land in South America, or Central America, or Central Africa. They took and they stole that land, they stole that farm. Or the plantation that this fruit comes from that was built upon the sorrow, the blood, the sweat, and the tears of those poor slaves. Think about that. Is the fruit really pure? Think how it was obtained. And think how much money, how many millions of dollars the company is making, and what little amount of money those farmers get in Bolivia or Peru. Think about it. Think about that. Think about the interest involved. Think about the fighting and the killing and the greed involved to control and to monopolize fruit. Think about that. And think about paradise, that the fruit only comes from the fruits of your labor. There's no fighting or stealing or dishonoring, but it's nothing more than iman and righteous deeds. So be mindful of this, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and ask Allah to make you of those who eat from the fruit of Jannah, and ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to make you of those who shall receive this honor, as Allah Azza wa Jalla tells us, وَجَنَى الْجَنَّتَيْنِ دَانٍ, and the two gardens, their fruits are close by. وَجَنَى الْجَنَّتَيْنِ دَانٍ, the two gardens, their fruit is close by. What's meant by this? Some scholars say, وَجَنَى الْجَنَّتَيْنِ يعني جَنَّةَ الْإِنسِ وَجَنَّةَ الْجِنِّ, paradise for the humans and paradise for the jinn. And others, they say, وَجَنَى الْجَنَّتَيْنِ, the two Jannahs, is that every believer will have at least two paradises, two gardens. And others, they say, rather, there's much more than two. And the fruits for sure, this interpretation, that interpretation, or the third, that name. It will always be close by. You don't have to get up. And Allah Azza wa Jalla, He only mentioned this after He said, مُتَّكِئِينَ, that the people will be sitting upon carpets. They will be reclining. بَطَائِنُهَا مِنْ السَّبْرَقِ, silk brocade they will lay upon. وَجَنَى الْجَنَّتَيْنِ دَانٍ, and their fruits will be close by. I.e., you don't have to get up. You don't have to call out. You don't have to make an order, but it's close by. You reach and it's right there. No thorns, no rain, no extreme sun, no cold. There's no farming and planting. There is no type of pesticides. And of course, you don't have to worry about it being organic or not being organic. Ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to make you of those who eat from the fruits of paradise. Ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to forgive us of our sins and have mercy upon our souls. And to be of those who will inherit this paradise. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. That's what we ask Allah for. Wa subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursaleen. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا تراصوا لا تختلفوا سد الفرج. Please straighten the gaps. Please straighten the rows and leave no gaps. Fill in the gaps, straighten the rows, fill the hips, shoulder to shoulder. Move up, make as much space as you possibly can.